meeting of the Timberville Town Council order, February 10, 2022. Before we do the pledge, as we know, some terrible things happened this week. And it's just a reminder, we live in a great place. We have great police officers, but they're still terrible people around. And our community was rocked by such an event. So I'd like to just pause for a moment of silence in honor of, I'm not going to say memorial, but in honor of those two officers who gave their life. And this just have, so I can say, let's pause for a moment of silence, and then we'll do the pledge. Thank you all. Okay, join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, everybody received a copy of their minutes. I'm sure everyone's had a chance to review them. Anyone have any questions, amendments, changes, anything like that you'd like to say? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Natalie. And we'll go around the room. Ned?
Yep.
Yes.
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 Everyone's got to vote out of chief there. Okay. You also have a copy of your treasurer's report with all the balances and the balances on our loans and the ARPA funds and all that. Any questions for Melinda on that? Okay, good job as usual. And I don't think there was a lot of change on the park spending. I think we're down to about the end of a few things we're going to be getting done this year. But we have that report too. You also have bills for payment. Everyone go through there and check your bills for payment. And any questions on those? Make sure someone's texting me saying it wasn't working. Oh, we're good. Any question on the bills? Okay, any motion to approve, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Clarence. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll go with Carl this time. Thank you, Carl. Okay, Ralph, please.
Yes.
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 Thank you very much. Okay, we gotta wait till 7:10, right, AC? We'll go our first one.
Yep.
So a little bit early. Chief, you wanna give a report on the police report?
I don't really have anything for you, Mike. We discussed some of the grant things that are going on. There's a lot of that in motion. But that I don't really have anything in reference to the officers killed in the line of duty. It's been a great support from our community here as well as the community at large, and those that were more directly impacted in Bridgewater. So it's good to see that support when times are tough. It's appreciated. A lot of people reaching out just to check on officers and that kind of thing.
It was amazing to see people as far as New York City and things like that come and show their support. And we are blessed to live in such a community that the police officers are such a tight-knit group and that citizens is a tight-knit group. So I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. But thank you guys. They do a great job.
Yes, sir.
And you do a great job too. AC, we still got plenty of time.
All right. So, just a quick update on some of the housing issues that we've been discussing over the past several meetings. I'm actually going to be inspecting one of the properties of concern that is supposed to have been corrected, so we'll have to do that tomorrow. Probably got that arranged. The boat launch paperwork, we submitted that application to the Department of, or the Army Corps of Engineers and Department of Conservation Recreation maybe, at the state level. And we received the approval back from the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm just waiting to hear back from the other agency now as to whether they need any other permits that they have to issue, or if we're good to go with what the Corps of Engineers gave us. So whenever it's starting to get some nicer days, so maybe we can get that project underway pretty soon. I put in the memo I sent out about, actually I sent out the extra email today about the meter reading equipment, and in case anybody didn't check their email, we had issues arise. We knew that our meter reading equipment and the software to run that was going to be becoming obsolete. The plan was to we'll put that into the upcoming budget and get that project taken care of next year. We had issues, the equipment which we purchased originally back in 2005 is not functioning properly. With the last meter reading, when the guys went out and read the meters last Friday, I think it was, and then Michelle was trying to download the information into the computer to do the billing. They didn't want to talk to each other. There were some pretty significant issues with that. So what I'm going to ask is for the council to consider tonight a request to go ahead and fast track that, because we have to have the equipment. What I put in the email was that these devices, the meter reading devices, use the same chip that they use in the computer chip that they use in the cars, and everybody's probably aware that there's a shortage of those chips. So our original quote that we had received last year for budgeting purposes, at the end of last year for budgeting purposes, is now double, because there is a huge demand for anything that has a chip in it and such a backlog on it. So basic economics, supply and demand type thing. So what we're looking at is we need two ones, they're $2,000 a piece. We need two belt clip devices, which is basically a small computer that will communicate, or a small device that communicates with the radio read devices, the meters that are in the ground. So as the guys go around, it pulls that information off of the meters, the radio read meters, and then we'll need a couple iPads to go on with it to store and process the data that comes from those devices that are communicating with the water meters. So the two belt devices, they're $8,000 each. The ones are $2,000 each, and then iPads are about $500 a piece. So the request is to, what I'm asking council to consider and approve tonight is to spend the $21,000 to go ahead and get this project taken care of, and recommend using the ARPA funds because it is directly related to, it is a cost associated with water and sewer infrastructure, like we did with the billing software. Without the equipment, we don't know if next time we'll actually be able to get them downloaded or not. The software is a little different story. We actually will just stay on the same schedule that we've been on with that. We always include the maintenance fees in one of the line items in the annual budget. So we don't have to change anything with that because they can just bill us for the software after, in our next fiscal year. But the equipment, we have to pay for that when we order it. So that is the request. Any questions? Sorry it was such short notice, but we didn't get the information back until yesterday afternoon, I think it was, about what we needed and that it wasn't going to work. So.
It's just like we have a whole lot of choice.
Exactly, yes.
So we're looking for a motion, folks, so we can get this going.
And that's a no-brainer, so I'll make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, we're on the room. Ned?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you all very much.
Okay, anything else I see public hearing?
Let's see.
The only other thing I have is an email that I received from Lisa Gooden today, and she's the voter registrar for Rockham County. As everybody's may have read, redistricting took place. They have to do that every so often to make sure that when it comes to election time, you have equal number of, or about equal number of voters in each district around the county. They've changed some things around after redistricting, and I just want to put out there that in the next elections with the redistricting, the only people that will be voting down at the Plains District Community Center now will be residents of Timberville, of the town proper. They created a new polling location and they're calling it, I think it's the Lone Pine Precinct. Yeah, the newly established Lone Pine Precinct is going to be voting at John C. Myers Elementary. And my understanding is that is a combination of two other former precincts that are the county residents. So for Timberville residents, it'll only be Timberville residents voting down at Community Center. It's probably going to be a little bit easier on the poll workers instead of having two different ballots potentially. You walk in, there's just that's the only one there. So just wanted to throw that out, get that information out there too. And that's what I have for Public Works, unless there are any questions.
Now, one thing I want to add is, I know we've spent money on this, what they call a SCADA system. You've heard us use that term around a lot. If you ever have a day off, for the ones who work and the ones who are retired, we all have days off. Go down to the maintenance building, let the employees show you what that does for them. It is an amazing operation. They know moment by moment what's going on with their system, water, sewer, everything, and that actually helped them find that water leak within, it was less than 24 hours, because they could turn it off and watch the thing rise and let it rise and go up and down and all that sort of thing. But it's an amazing system, and I know we've spent some fair amount of money on it, so if you get a chance, go see what the money we spent in town went towards. It's just a neat system. They monitor it all day long. It's got historical data, and it's really amazing system. So if you got a moment, I think I was down there Derek showed me for about an hour with the system. He's so proud of it.
And the well is also performing well. They said they think they've got everything kind of ironed out, and they get a little spike here and there, but nothing like it was. So that the issues we had with the turbidity and fluctuations after we had the engineer come in, they've got those. Chris was like they've got those worked out where it's they're very comfortable with its operation now.
Yeah, they got the last thing, and it was jumping up 20, 30, 40 gallons per minute up and down real quickly. And it's like putting a blender in there is what it was basically doing. And now it goes up a couple at a time, and it's leveled out. The system's fully running the way it should be. And they can show you that too when you go out there. Okay, so we ready for rezoning public hearing? We've got plenty. We've got past our time frame.
Yep.
You want to go over that real quick?
Sure.
We have the application.
So we received a request for rezoning. It's the property located at the intersection of North Main Street and Community Circle. Currently zoned B1, and the request is to have it rezoned to R2, which is residential. And representative here there you are. Do you want to come up and give us a brief overview of why you're asking for the rezoning?
I'm Carlo Montalbano with White Mountain Construction, and our intent is to build a two-family home on that lot there and have an entrance coming out on Community Circle. For business purposes, there's really no off-street parking. It's not the lot is not too conducive to a business, so we thought it would be better suited for a residential structure.
And we're only talking about the rest of it's zoned correctly. Just
Right, there's a much larger portion, but yet there's only the small.
This little teeny piece right here.
It's about 0.6 acres, I believe, is what it is. 0.6 of an acre. That's all that we're considering. The rest, like I said, Mr. Montalbano is looking at development of the rest of that larger piece, but it's already zoned appropriately for what he's looking at for that. So yeah, it's just that small 0.6 of an acre parcel that is being considered tonight for rezoning.
And I take it's got all the road distance, width distance, and all required for net zoning, 75 feet or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's all
Well, it's going as a single lot. Yeah,
Okay.
It would meet the requirements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone have any questions? What's your name again, I'm sorry?
Carlo Montalbano.
Any questions for Carla? Okay,
Will the entrance and exit be off Belvedere then?
So this is on Community Circle, this particular lot.
Yeah.
which is number
With the big development part of it,
Yeah.
that'll come later. Mr. Montfont is getting the site plan worked up for that. So the only one on that kind of master plan that we looked at is lot number 7.
right here. Like,
Okay,
like
all
pointed out there.
Yeah.
right.
Now, okay, now we'll see the actual plan.
That'll have to come through too, yeah.
Because like lot 5, where's that gonna be? Are you gonna access that from community circle too, that real big lot?
Can I step up?
Yes, sure. This one here is gonna be community circle, not that has anything to do with this rezoning, that's just.
Yeah, so this is not exactly accurate right here. So we were not able, because of the way these lot lines run, we were not able to get 4 lots here.
Okay.
On our 30-foot setback, we missed by 5 feet.
Okay.
So what we did was, we have 3 lots here now.
Mhm.
This line slid back a little bit, kind of intersects right here.
Okay.
And then we'll have the other lots,
Okay.
just like that. But these will, I talked to VDOT, so 2 of these lots will have a combined entrance, one will have its own entrance. This will have its own entrance. VDOT wants me to move this entrance for the curb cut is now closer towards the property line where the manhole is, which kind of lines up with I don't know if there was a repair out in the middle of the street there for the water line at one point in time.
It was.
It lines up perfectly with that cut that's in the 42 already, so we can tie in right there and bring water up that way. And because of the way the grade is right here, they would rather have this entrance on that.
And that makes sense to have an entrance it makes sense to have the entrance for the lot looking at for rezoning to come out of the community circle instead of crowd another entrance on the main street.
So we'll see that so-called master plan for the rest of it at some later date.
Yeah.
But today's subject is basically what they call lot number 7, and that small one, which is, I guess the question I want to have after this, after we move on this, it really doesn't make a lot of sense that a lot of those properties on the east side they're all residents, but they're all zone business.
Right.
So maybe these ladies and gentlemen can look at that a little bit and see if that really makes sense or not. I think,
That's already been discussed.
has it already been discussed and you're all good with it, or?
It's been discussed.
Okay. Good point. Well, continue discussing it, I guess. Good answer. Okay, anyone have any, we have to have public comment.
Yeah, so we have to open it up for public comment.
Okay. Does anybody, the public who came tonight, have any questions about what we're doing here? Okay. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Planning Commission, do you have anything to say on this one right now? You have a Now, do we have to have them go out and give a recommendation? How are we doing this now?
They've reviewed it, so if they can go, if you all can either go out and do it, or if you already have a recommendation, since there wasn't anything, I mean, it was,
We're recommending approval.
That's what we need. Good. So we have a recommendation from the Planning Commission for approval of this lot, the rezoning. Council have any questions for the Planning Commission?
It's just that one lot.
Just the one lot. Yeah, we're going to make it, we're gonna turn that in the same zoning as the big lot, or the big parcel, excuse me. Okay. Having no questions, we need a motion to move on.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? We'll go around the room. Ned?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you, folks. Thank you all. You can hang around, or it's up to you. It's up to you guys. Okay. The next one we have is the one I know the Planning Commission's been working on for a fair amount of time. And AC, you want to give a little brief synopsis on that real quick?
So this Planning Commission worked on this at some length a couple years ago, pre-COVID. Had it ironed out. We were going to bring it up for a public hearing back then, after it was they had the draft of it done, and And then COVID hit, we went to virtual meetings, and I lost track of it, and then came back up on it a little bit ago. So, Planning Commission, sent it back to Planning Commission talked about it again, said, you know, they were still good with the current version, and recommends approval to the town council. I don't think it didn't need to be a joint public hearing for this. I think council needed to have a public hearing because it has fees associated with it. Is that right, Clemens?
Yes.
Isn't that what we talked about?
Yes.
So, the
Well,
only.
and penalties.
And penalties, right, yeah, exactly. So, to council, it's just a public hearing for the council on this one, because it doesn't fall in one of those categories where it requires a joint public hearing. One thing that I will mention, as I was going through it today again, it caught my eye. We took Bridgewater's code, and that's what
You
this-
were influenced by Bridgewater's.
I plagiarized Bridgewater's code. I'm not ashamed of, why reinvent the wheel. But anyway, one of the things that I noticed is in the, where it says legislative intent in that blue box, it references a code section 17-301. That is actually Bridgewater's code. So it should reference, and we can make that amendment and reference section 4-10 of the town of Timberville codes, which would refer to this ordinance. So that's the only thing that needs to be corrected on that. And I think there were 2 instances of that code section being cited in that legislative intent.
And you've addressed things like the occupancy, parking,
Mhm.
they have to register to do so and all that sort of thing, is what I see in here.
The planning commission spent a lot of time on this. There was a lot of thought that went into the development of this. Trying to figure out what needs to be kept, what we could get rid of, what fit, some things that fit Bridgewater might not fit Timberville. So it is definitely tailored to Timberville.
What is the rules or regulations that the proprietor has to follow to be considered a B&B or short-term?
It's a registration process. So one of the things we'll have to develop a form for them to fill out to register, because it doesn't fall under a traditional business license. So it'd be a separate registration process, but they have to meet the requirements. They have to bring something in, and the planning commission will review it as far as the parking that they're proposing, where they're going to have the parking.
Could an unscrupulous landlord with a duplex or a townhouse or something fall under this and actually rent to someone weekly or monthly? Because there are people that rent monthly and weekly.
Well, there's a thing in here that it can't last for more than 30 consecutive days.
Yeah, but then he turns around and rents it to the same person for
No.
another 30 days?
No, because that would be more than 30 days consecutively.
They'd have to stay in a hotel for a night.
Okay. Even if this is passed, I think the yearly fee is much too low. I mean, if it's passed, these people are gonna be making some pretty good money on the stays at those properties. So-
I mean, I think there's a fair amount of fees that go into Airbnbs and short-term rentals when you go, if you stay at one,
Mhm.
there are a lot of fees that go into it too. So it's not all profit. There's a lot of stuff they have to pay out to the different agencies because most people look for something that is rated and has a good reputation and things like that. So
Yeah, I still think $50 a year is too low. It should go up, if it passes.
Well, we should, whoever makes the motion, if we wanted to make that motion with that amendment, we try the easiest way to do that.
Well, I hate to make a motion on price, maybe I won't vote for it. 'Cause I mean,
Okay.
50.
Okay. I do know with Airbnbs are somewhat they somewhat police themselves because you rate each other and you know or not it's a good place to rent. That's all we do nowadays.
So we do have there is in 4-10.4, it does say that there's a tax levy, 4.5% on the total amount paid for lodging. So I think that's something, and because I know when we get into it, it talks in here about the treasurer taking care of things. So I'm thinking that's wise because Melinda will be the one that receives those. Kind of, I guess it would be kind of similar to the meals tax.
Yeah, same.
So we also have a lodging tax on the books, and that might have been the conversation for a long time ago. I don't know if that was what we looked at.
Well, that's what I was just discussing with Carl, is like, when we talked about fees, we made sure that we are like on par with other municipalities. We didn't go weirdly low or weirdly high, like, we're on par with other, yeah. But as like, I think we did talk about other,
Is that 4.5% per stay or per yearly
It says,
income?
there is hereby levied and imposed on each short-term rental operator a tax equivalent to 4.5% on the total amount paid for lodging by or for any such transient to any lodging place.
Basically, if you rent a place through like Airbnb or VDRO, there's going to be, like, they know your locality and a tax is added onto that. So if I were to go stay in Harrisonburg, if their fee is 4.3%, that gets added in, and then I see like all the fees. Kind of like if you're a hotel and you see an itemized receipt, you see like you have the hotel tax, you have all these different taxes. It's the same exact thing, except you're in a residential area versus a hotel.
And then
So if you have
the
Airbnb,
agencies, the renting agency, or the,
coordinating agency.
yes, they collect that tax and then they remit that to the town, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Isn't that how it
if I
works?
remember correctly, yeah.
So the fee is basically like the license to operate, but the town, if we had several Airbnbs that were doing very well, the town's gonna be getting revenue from that. So what you wanna do is encourage the growth of Airbnb and the growth of the economy to get that tax revenue and not just the license fee. The license fee is just to get it rolling, basically.
Well, very similar to a business license.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. The better a business does, the more.
Why
it
not just
counts.
charge a flat fee, not mess with the 4.5%?
You can.
Yeah.
If you
The
go through
customer will pay
Airbnb,
that
you
4.5%
can.
tax, not the business, or not the person that owns the property. Just like if you book a hotel room, you're gonna pay
The
tax building
individual
that, yeah,
rent.
the individual will pay that for.
Well, it's just like the meals tax, the individual's paying 4.5% on top of that. Clarence's restaurant's not paying it. They write the check, but the individuals pay Clarence, and Clarence hold it in so-called escrow or whatever until he pays it out. Any other questions? We don't have any of this. Now, Broadway, do they have?
I'm not sure if they have an ordinance on the books, but I know they have
Still
several Airbnbs in town.
Somebody spends a month for Friday.
Any issues?
Kyle said that
25.
you wouldn't even know that they're there. They're very quiet and never have any issues with them. So.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Just a public hearing.
Oh, we have no,
Yeah, we
we got, thank you, Ned. Ned keeps me in line here to make sure I don't miss something. Okay, so we've had our discussion. We'll open up to the public. Any public have any questions about this? Okay. Public comment is closed. Thank you, Ned. I gotta have them all blended together here. Okay, now, any further discussion? Then we need a motion either way.
Is the motion to pass it or?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve.
Get a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion approved and properly seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll go around the room. Ned?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
No.
Passes. Okay, you have all that, right? You got it all?
Yep.
Okay, what are we on to AC now? I think
Business
for
and
business and
industry.
industry. And do you have any updates on, I know you've updated me on the gentleman back here, the cleanup he's doing, and anything else we got going on right now?
Walgreens is well underway with their construction. They're doing a lot of the site work down here. So they're working hard on getting that up and ready. And I know the other site, the current Walgreens site is listed. And I forget exactly what the price tag is, but that is being listed for sale. So I think anybody wants to buy, build and put a business in Timberville.
Anyone want to buy an old Walgreens?
Yeah. So,
And then the gentleman down here is putting,
they've done a considerable amount of cleanup. I think I reported that at the last meeting, with all the trees and everything. And I spoke to him the other day. He's still talking to a local business that is wanting to move into town, into the corporate limits of the town. So hopefully that'll go through. He still hasn't received a quote on the roof down here to make his determination as to whether it's cost effective for him to put a roof on it, save the building, or better to demolish it. So as soon as he gets that, he's supposed to let me know.
There was some scuttlebutt going around about individual pharmacists opening up a pharmacy down at the old drugstore.
That's what, I had heard something about that, but I haven't been contacted by anybody. Yeah, I've been waiting, because I've heard the same thing, but
Okay.
I haven't, nobody's come to talk to me about it as far as looking for, any kind of zoning permit or business license or anything, so.
any other business or anybody? Okay, Parks and Rec? I think when, through the winter season, we don't have a lot of Parks and Rec stuff going on right now.
That's right.
Working on the boat launch, but I think that's all we got going right now, correct? Okay. Finance, we're gonna have to have, when are we gonna start our first meeting? We're gonna get together and discuss it.
We'll get something, I'm trying to work on the flat budget. So maybe if I get a better idea when I get that finished up, I'll send out something to everybody as far as when we're at our first budget meeting.
And for AC and I use the term flat budget. I don't know if it's the right term to use, but basically, he looks at all the income we have with the set bills we have. So we start out knowing, or we start out in a good spot or start out in a bad spot, instead of throwing all capital on it and never knowing where you start. So he'll sit there and say, okay, here's how much we make in a year, and here's how much we spend in a year, and here's how much we're to the good or to the bad. So we know where we're starting out. And then I think I confused one of our employees when I said flat budget.
Maybe bare bones is a
Yeah,
better way to say
maybe
it.
bare bones, but whatever term I should be using, the impression was we're not gonna buy anything this year, and that confused somebody, but no, we're good. I want to know, and I think the council wants to know, out the gate, if we're looking good or not looking as good as we could. Cool? Okay, personnel, I see, you've got the application.
The ads out.
The ads out.
Some additional public works employee that will be focused on the smaller projects that we're doing under ARPA funding. So we'll see what kind of response we get from that, and hopefully the pipe's a little bit. I saw a truck going through Broadway the other day, loaded down with pipe, and I was tempted to hijack it. Pipe was apparently a rare commodity. Maybe not as rare as the car chips, but
The second rarest.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're down to Plains District Memorial Museum. Sharon, you have something first, and we'll turn it over to Beth.
Yeah, for the month of January, we had 135 visitors, 120 volunteer hours. Our membership is now 116, and on February the 20th at 2 o'clock, Charity Dare will present her program on Afro-American graves in the Linville Creek Church Cemetery.
Okay. Nice, thank you. Bev, it's your turn.
Williams
mornings of December 14th, 1938, the Timberville Bridge opened to traffic. There's some of these you have heard before. February 9th, 1942, the Rockingham Building Company opened. Now, the building was really built in 1941, and that's the museum building, which probably everybody knows. May 5th, 1929, the New Brethren Church was dedicated. The previous church was destroyed by fire on March 25th, 1928. August 1934, the Shenandoah Valley Distilling Company received its charter. November 9th, 1932, a traffic light was installed at the intersection of Main Street and Church Street. That's the one that a lot of people argue that was never a light there, but I've got pictures of it. May 7th, 1941, Mr. Lester Hoover began building a filling station along Main Street. He expects to have it completed about June the 1st to the 15th. That's the end of the bridge. That's Godfather's Pizza. That building was built in 1941. June 18th, 1941, the Recreation Center opened in Timberville. That was a bowling alley. The old building was an eyesore for years. People can hardly believe it is the same building since being renovated. Soft drinks and souvenirs were given to the crowd at the opening. August 28, 1931, 15,000 bushels of peaches were brought into the Mutual cold storage. Now here's one that's this is somewhere around Timberville. A black snake got around a man's leg. He stabbed himself trying to get it off.
I
didn't have any names with that one.
You have any names? Last name wasn't Garber? His last name wasn't Garber?
We won't talk about that.
Okay, council, you have any other business to bring forward to council tonight? AC, Clinton, anything? Chief?
No, sir.
Okay, we're good. Then we'll open up to public comment. Bowman's our public tonight. Do you have any comment?
You know I do. I'm Paula Bowman, and this is not a broken record. This is something I want you all to really think about. The signs that have gone up down onto 11 to tell the trucks not to turn onto Memorial Park Drive have done a little good, but as our mayor knows, they're not that great. I can tell you that there are trucks that come down there as early as 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes before. And I let the mayor know anytime it's a reasonable time of day that I should let him know.
I appreciate that.
But I don't get them all because I'm not sitting there waiting for trucks to come out. But I tend to save things, and I have some old records that I was reminded of the other day by one of you. And I'd like you to very seriously consider putting a sidewalk on that street. Back when Ellen Nash was here and Anna Branner, there was an effort to do that. And someone prepared a grant request, and it was approved. We got the money. But our mayor at that time decided it was not something we should accept. So we didn't do it. Now, if there was a study done then, way back then, and it was proved that it should go in, I'd like to see us address it again. We've got the ball field, the basketball courts and pickleball. I don't know what else is going in there, but we want people to be able to get there safely, and they can't do it on that road. There's no way. It's not safe. And I know, and I've told you before, that people who live on the street, particularly the ones with little children, are very concerned about them. And I think we owe it to the residents to take care of that. I think it's high time. And I think it would be nice to approach the plants over here and let them chip in for it. They're the ones that have caused it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, before, what she's referring to is back.
It was actually before
your
before
time.
I was here, before Ellen was here even.
I was a new councilman maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was around 2000, I think, is when that was submitted, I
The
believe.
grant was approved and the mayor declined to move forward with it, which was terrible. But That's where we're at. I mean, all we can do is push with, continue to reach out to VDOT and see when they have monies available. Don't know when. We still don't know when. We got monies available here, and we still don't know when that's gonna be done, but we'll just continue to reach out, that's all we can say. Anything else? And thank you all for attending. Thank you all for your hard work, and you adjourn.